The evidence that shocked everyone came in the form of tears streaming down a young man's face as reality hit him like a freight train. Justin Combs, who had grown up in luxury and privilege, suddenly found himself in the most dangerous position imaginable, caught between family loyalty and a federal justice system that shows no mercy. When the courtroom erupted into chaos, it wasn't just another legal proceeding gone wrong. It was the moment when a son realized that his father's empire had dragged him into a nightmare that could cost him everything, including his life. The attack on his character, his future, and his freedom came from directions he never expected. But what could drive federal prosecutors to target someone who had lived most of his life away from his father's alleged criminal activities? The goodbye that followed wasn't just to freedom, it was to everything he thought he knew about his family. Justin Combs, from privilege to federal scrutiny. Justin D. Combs, now 30 years old, has lived his entire life in the shadow of his father's massive entertainment empire, experiencing privileges that few could imagine while maintaining a relatively lower profile compared to his father's constant media presence. Born into wealth and celebrity, Justin attended exclusive private schools before earning a football scholarship to UCLA, where he played defensive back for the Bruins from 2012 to 2015. His athletic achievements provided him with an identity separate from his father's fame and business operations. Following his graduation from UCLA with a degree in sociology, Justin became increasingly involved in various aspects of his father's business empire, attending industry events and participating in family business operations that brought him closer to the center of bad boy entertainment activities. His presence during the March 25, 2024 FBI raids on his father's properties placed him directly within the scope of federal investigation, as he was questioned by federal agents for several hours during the search of the Los Angeles mansion. Questions arise about what level of involvement Justin might have had in business operations that federal investigators now characterize as part of an alleged criminal enterprise, and whether his family connections have made him a target for federal prosecution. The federal investigation's expansion. Federal RICO investigations often begin with primary targets before expanding to include family members, associates, and business partners who may have participated in alleged criminal enterprise activities, regardless of their motivations or awareness of criminal conduct. The timeline of federal charges against Diddy spans from 2008 to present, a period that encompasses Justin's transition from teenager to adult and his increasing involvement in family business activities that might have exposed him to alleged criminal operations. Federal prosecutors have broad authority to pursue charges against anyone who allegedly participated in RICO enterprises, with family relationships providing no protection against criminal liability when evidence suggests knowing participation in criminal activities. The precedent of family members facing charges in RICO cases includes numerous examples where children, spouses, and relatives of primary defendants have been prosecuted separately based on their own alleged contributions to criminal enterprises. Legal experts note that federal prosecutors often use the pressure of potential charges against family members as leverage in plea negotiations with primary defendants, creating complex dynamics that affect entire families involved in federal investigations. The psychology of family loyalty versus survival. Criminal psychology research reveals that family members involved in criminal enterprises face intense psychological pressure when choosing between loyalty to loved ones and self-preservation, particularly when federal prosecutors offer cooperation agreements. Justin Combs has maintained close relationships with his father throughout his life, publicly expressing support and admiration for Diddy's business success and personal guidance, creating emotional bonds that complicate legal decision-making. The transformation from privileged family member to potential federal defendant creates psychological trauma that can overwhelm individuals who have never faced serious legal consequences or imagined that their family connections could result in criminal liability. Federal cooperation agreements typically require complete honesty about all known criminal activities, forcing family members to choose between protecting loved ones and protecting themselves from potential life imprisonment. The psychological barriers to testifying against family members include deep-seated loyalty, fear of retaliation, and identity conflicts that make cooperation decisions among the most difficult choices individuals can face in federal criminal cases. Justin's business involvement and potential exposure. Following his graduation from UCLA, Justin became more actively involved in his father's business operations, participating in entertainment industry networking, attending business meetings, and developing his own music career within the Bad Boy Entertainment framework. His role in family business operations evolved from occasional appearances to more substantial participation in strategic discussions and operational activities that might have created documentation and evidence relevant to federal investigations. The entertainment industry requires extensive relationship building and networking activities, functions that Justin performed as part of his integration into family business operations and his own career development within the music industry. Financial transactions and business documentation often involve multiple family members in complex entertainment industry operations, potentially creating records that federal investigators might analyze for evidence of criminal enterprise involvement. One has to wonder what specific business activities Justin participated in and whether federal investigators might interpret any of those activities as evidence of knowing participation in alleged criminal enterprise operations. The reality of federal courtroom security. Federal courthouses employ multiple layers of sophisticated security designed to prevent violence and maintain order during high-profile criminal proceedings, particularly in cases involving defendants who might face threats from various sources. The Southern District of New York, where Diddy's case is being heard, represents one of the most secure judicial facilities in the United States, with extensive screening procedures and trained security personnel monitoring all courthouse activities. Security protocols for family members of high-profile defendants often include threat assessment, controlled access to courtroom proceedings, and coordination with law enforcement agencies to ensure participant safety during emotionally charged legal proceedings. The U.S. Marshals Service maintains primary responsibility for courthouse security and participant protection, with specialized training in managing high-profile cases that might attract public attention or generate security concerns. Questions arise about what circumstances might create security threats against family members of federal defendants and how authorities assess and respond to potential dangers facing individuals connected to high-profile criminal cases. Courtroom dynamics and emotional pressure. Federal courtroom environments create intense psychological pressure for all participants, particularly family members who must observe legal proceedings against loved ones while facing their own potential legal jeopardy. The formal atmosphere of federal proceedings, combined with the gravity of serious criminal charges, can overwhelm individuals who have never experienced the criminal justice system and don't understand the procedures and potential outcomes. Justin's presence in courtroom proceedings as both a family member and potential defendant creates complex emotional dynamics as he watches his father face serious charges while knowing that his own future might depend on the outcome of federal investigations. The pressure of media attention and public scrutiny adds additional stress to courtroom experiences as family members must manage their emotional responses while knowing that their reactions are being observed and potentially recorded by media outlets. Legal experts note that the psychological stress of federal proceedings can affect decision-making and emotional regulation in ways that influence how family members respond to prosecutorial pressure and cooperation opportunities. Historical precedents in family RICO prosecutions. Federal prosecutors have successfully prosecuted family members in numerous RICO cases, establishing legal precedents that demonstrate how family relationships provide no protection against criminal enterprise charges when evidence supports allegations of participation. The case of John Gotti Jr. illustrates how federal prosecutors approach family members who claim they were merely following parental guidance, with prosecutors successfully arguing that participation in family business operations constituted knowing involvement in criminal activities. The prosecution of organized crime families provides relevant examples for understanding how federal authorities handle cases where multiple family members are alleged to have participated in criminal enterprises over extended periods. More recent cases involving entertainment industry figures demonstrate how federal prosecutors apply RICO statutes to modern criminal enterprises that operate under legitimate business facades while allegedly engaging in criminal activities. The implications of these precedents could suggest that Justin might face similar legal exposure if federal investigators determine that his business involvement constituted participation in an alleged criminal enterprise. Media coverage and public perception. High-profile federal cases generate intense media coverage that can influence public perception of all participants, including family members who may not be charged with crimes but are associated with defendants facing serious allegations. Justin's status as the son of a celebrity defendant means that his courtroom appearances and legal situation receive extensive analysis and speculation from media outlets and social media commentators who may not understand the complexities of federal cases. The tendency of media coverage to focus on dramatic moments and emotional reactions can create false impressions about legal proceedings and the actual evidence or charges that participants might face. Public sympathy for family members caught in federal investigations can sometimes conflict with legal realities about criminal liability and the evidence required to support charges against individuals who participated in alleged criminal enterprises. Questions arise about how media attention might affect Justin's legal situation and whether public perception could influence prosecutorial decisions or potential jury pools in any future legal proceedings. The impact on Justin's personal life and career. Federal investigations and potential criminal charges can devastate personal relationships, career opportunities, and financial security for individuals who become targets of law enforcement attention. Regardless of whether formal charges are ultimately filed, Justin's music career and business ventures could be significantly affected by his association with federal criminal investigations, as partners and collaborators might distance themselves to avoid potential legal complications. The social and professional networks that Justin has built throughout his life might be disrupted by federal scrutiny as individuals seek to protect themselves from potential involvement in ongoing criminal investigations. Financial assets and business interests could be subject to federal forfeiture proceedings if prosecutors determine that they were derived from or connected to alleged criminal enterprise activities, potentially affecting Justin's long-term financial security. The psychological impact of living under federal investigation includes stress, anxiety, and uncertainty that can affect personal relationships, professional performance, and overall quality of life for extended periods. Legal strategy and defense considerations. Defense attorneys representing family members in RICO cases must navigate complex legal and emotional dynamics while protecting their clients' interests and maintaining family relationships that might be crucial for long-term well-being. The decision of whether to cooperate with federal prosecutors against family members represents one of the most difficult choices in criminal law, requiring careful analysis of legal risks, potential benefits, and long-term consequences for all involved parties. Legal strategies for family members often focus on distinguishing between personal relationships and business activities, while demonstrating that any involvement in family businesses was motivated by loyalty rather than criminal intent. The timing of legal decisions can significantly affect outcomes, as federal prosecutors often provide limited windows for cooperation opportunities before proceeding with formal charges against potential defendants. Questions arise about how Justin's legal team might approach his situation and whether cooperation agreements or other legal strategies might be available to protect his interests while addressing federal concerns about his potential involvement. Federal cooperation agreements and family pressure. Federal cooperation agreements often create intense pressure on family members who must choose between providing testimony against loved ones and facing potential prosecution themselves for alleged participation in criminal enterprises. The process of federal cooperation involves extensive debriefing sessions where individuals must disclose all knowledge of criminal activities, including information that might incriminate family members and business associates. Cooperation requirements are comprehensive and unforgiving, with federal prosecutors expecting complete honesty and substantial assistance in exchange for reduced sentences or immunity from prosecution. The emotional toll of cooperating against family members can be devastating, as individuals must overcome psychological barriers related to loyalty, trust, and family identity that have defined their relationships throughout their lives. Legal experts note that cooperation decisions often have permanent consequences for family relationships, regardless of the legal outcomes that result from providing testimony against loved ones. The broader implications for entertainment families. The Diddy case represents broader trends in federal law enforcement's approach to entertainment industry criminal enterprises and the willingness to pursue charges against family members who allegedly participated in criminal activities. The success of federal prosecutions involving entertainment families could influence how other wealthy families in the entertainment industry approach business operations and family involvement in potentially sensitive activities. The precedent of pursuing family members in entertainment industry cases might encourage other victims to come forward with allegations and could lead to broader investigations of industry practices and business relationships. Questions arise about how the entertainment industry might adapt to increased federal scrutiny and whether family business structures might need to change to reduce legal risks for family members. The outcome of cases involving entertainment families could establish new standards for accountability and legal liability that affect how wealthy families manage their business operations and protect family members from legal exposure. Psychological support and family dynamics. Federal cases involving multiple family members create complex psychological dynamics that often require professional intervention to help families navigate legal pressures while maintaining relationships and emotional stability. The stress of federal investigations can strain family relationships as different members face varying levels of legal exposure and must make individual decisions about cooperation and legal strategy that might conflict with family loyalty. Mental health professionals who specialize in criminal law cases note that family members often experience trauma, anxiety, and depression when facing potential prosecution and the possibility of testifying against loved ones. Support systems for families involved in federal cases include legal counseling, psychological therapy, and family counseling designed to help individuals manage the complex emotional and legal challenges they face. The long-term psychological effects of federal cases on family relationships often persist long after legal proceedings are resolved, requiring ongoing support and intervention to help families rebuild and recover. Looking toward uncertain futures. As federal prosecutors continue building their case against Diddy, questions remain about how the investigation might expand to include other family members and what evidence might be developed to support potential charges against individuals like Justin. The timeline for federal RICO cases often extends over several years, creating prolonged uncertainty for family members who must live with the possibility of prosecution while trying to maintain normal lives and relationships. Legal experts note that federal investigations frequently reveal additional evidence that can lead to expanded prosecutions as cases develop, making it difficult to predict final outcomes for family members who might be connected to alleged criminal enterprises. The resolution of this case will likely establish important precedents for how federal prosecutors approach cases involving entertainment industry families and the extent to which family members might be held liable for alleged criminal enterprise activities. The implications for other wealthy families could suggest that increased federal scrutiny of entertainment industry operations might require changes in how families structure their business relationships and protect members from potential legal exposure. If you're as concerned about the impact on families caught in federal investigations as we are, go ahead and like this video. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think family members should face prosecution for alleged criminal enterprise activities when they might have been motivated by loyalty rather than criminal intent? How do you balance family loyalty with legal responsibilities? We want to hear your perspective on the complex dynamics facing families in federal criminal cases. Then hit subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss our coverage of this developing situation and its implications for families facing federal prosecution. Thanks for watching.